Welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Durling, Matt Phillips, my wingman once again, and we're at Matt's place and we're filming a video. This one's going to be short. It's a review of an album that hasn't been out too long. Yeah, just in time for Halloween. I give you Hollywood Vampires. Okay. If you don't know what we're talking about.
What are the Hollywood Vampires?
Well, essentially, this is a new Alice Cooper album. In a lot of ways. Hollywood Vampires was the unofficial nickname given to Alice and some of his drinking buddies back in the 1970s, which would have included Keith Moon,
Mickey Dolenz,
Mickey Dolenz,
Harry Nilsson,
Bernie Taupin. Of course, he's Elton John's lyricist. Who else? There were some honorary
John Lennon
members.
was an honorary member.
Yeah, was Ringo? No.
I'm not sure if Ringo.
But basically, they would get together and drink, and drink, and drink, and drink, and drink. And some of them are still around, some of them are not. And this album it's kind of a concept album. It's basically Alice and some big name guest stars.
Yeah, we're talking about Joe Perry.
Yeah, Paul McCartney. I mean, how often does Paul McCartney guest on
other people's stuff? Yeah.
We won't talk about Rihanna and Kanye West.
Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other people. There's Kip Winger, there's Oriente, there's the people that have played in this band. Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction. The late Sir Christopher Lee, who provides a narration at the beginning of this called The Last Vampire, which you say he's quoting from...
It's text right from the original the
Dracula. So the idea behind this is saluting some of, as Alice likes to call them, my dead drunk friends. Now, he used that line before, I believe, in his song From the Inside, which was, that came out in 1978, and that was an album about his overcoming his alcoholism, even though he wasn't quite done with drugs yet. And I believe it was co-written with Bernie Taupin. So this is kind of like, the last men standing as part of this. And a lot of covers. As a matter of fact, there's more covers on this than anything else. So I'll go through it track by track. There's an intro here from Bernie Taupin talking about basically how the Hollywood Vampires came to be. There are, like I said, there's an introduction from Christopher Lee. First full song is an original called Raise the Dead, which essentially sets the tone for this album because they're resurrecting songs with people, or at least members of these bands that have passed on.
Good song, and could have been on any of Alice's previous records.
And it would have fit right in on Welcome to My Nightmare, as the previous one. I was actually thinking that's what this was going to be, was another, but anyway, it is what it is. I consider it part of the Alice Cooper collection. Next up is, my opinion, an overplayed cover. I understand he wanted to do a Who song because of Keith Moon, but...
Take a guess which one they did.
Yeah, My Generation. I mean... How many more versions of My Generation? There's lots of Who songs they could have picked. But, it's well played. Zach Starkey actually plays drums on it. Next up, another of all the Zeppelin songs. And this is what I don't understand. I don't recall John Bonham being one of the Hollywood Vampires. But it might have just been because it was the right time period. They cover Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin. Of course, it's well played.
There's a special guest singer.
Yeah, it's not a guy that you hear that you're used to hearing on other people's albums. Alice sings one of the verses, and then you hear this very high, raspy voice, which belongs to none other than Brian Johnson from AC/DC. He makes another appearance on this album, too. Next song is an album that Alice has already covered. Back in 1988, he did a version of Spirit's I Got a Line on You from the soundtrack of Iron Eagle 2. And if you've got the box set, it's excellent box set, The Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper. That's one of the many goodies found on there. But this is a new recording of it with guest vocals from Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros. Next up, a medley, a couple of songs by a band that Matt's a big fan of.
The Doors.
He does 5 to 1 and Break On Through. And I really like the way that they blended them. I'm not a Doors fan. That's just my opinion. But I like the way that these are done. It's really, really good. Actually, a lot of the covers on here, Alice did. His previous live album, the Live in Vakken one.
Right.
A lot of previews to what, these are just studio recordings of them. Next up is a medley of songs from a decidedly un-hard rock character, Harry Nilsson.
I didn't know any
No, he does not. Thankfully, he doesn't do Without You. But it's one which is best known for Three Dog Night. Says one is the lone, and then Jump Into the Fire, which when I saw one Jump Into the Fire, I thought it was Metallica.
Yeah, exactly.
Allison Perry Farrell trade vocals on this one. The next one is very, very cool. It's Come and Get It, which was originally recorded by Badfinger, but was written by Sir Paul McCartney, and the man himself. He sings on this with Alice. He sings most of it. He plays the piano. He plays the bass. Joe Perry plays guitar on this. I mean, rock royalty here. Next up is a T-Rex cover. Again, Mark Bolan. I didn't think he was one of the Hollywood Vampires, but maybe it's the other thing is that they died very young. Yeah. That could have been why John Bonham's featured on here. Jeepster. Not a song I was familiar with, which is cool. I mean, he could have done Bang a Gong, so at least he picked a song. And I think this is a song that in the UK was a huge hit, right. But over here, T-Rex were basically known for just the one song. Next up is a John Lennon cover. That makes sense. Cold Turkey. This was a solo John Lennon song, correct? Yeah. Manic Depression. I know that Alice in the early days, in the late 60s, was in the same circles as Jimi Hendrix, so it makes sense that he would do a Hendrix song. Again, this is another one that Zach Starkey plays the drums on. Bob Ezrin's heavily involved with this album too, so that's...
The album has been in production for quite a while.
Yeah, I started hearing about this 3 years ago.
Yeah, to give you an idea, I mean, Tim mentioned earlier that Orianthe plays on the record. She's no longer in his band, so just to give you an idea of how far back it goes.
Yeah. The next song is, again, I think this is a song that was more known in the UK. Was originally done by, I always get them mixed up, the Faces or the Small Faces. I don't know which one's which. There's two different bands. But the song's called Itchy Coo Park. The late Steve Marriott was the singer, and he was also the singer for Humble Pie. This song, it's different than how I heard it. This song actually is also covered on the second Blue Murder album, Nothing But Trouble. Okay. This is another one that Johnny Depp plays guitar on. And next up is another mashup that Alice started doing live, and I think it really works quite well. It's School's Out mixed with Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, technically Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. It's nice to have a studio version of it. Now, what's special about this, not only does Slash appear on it, along with Joe Perry and Johnny Depp, but Alice's original rhythm section of drummer Neil Smith and bassist Dennis Dunaway appear in the song, so it's 3/5 of the original Alice Cooper band. Now, I don't know what went on with Michael Bruce, because he wasn't in the documentary either. There must be some bad blood there. And finally, one of only 2 originals on this album, My Dead Drunk Friends, which is a tongue-in-cheek yet sort of affectionate tribute to the artists that have just been paid tribute to. And it mentions them all by name. Glenn Buxton, who of course was the original Alice Cooper guitarist, I guess by doing School's Out they sort of honored him as well. I would have preferred a new full-length Alice Cooper album of originals, or, I mean, this entire album clocks in at 48 minutes and change. If he had included 3 or 4 more original songs, I think it would be more worth picking up. But it's a listenable album. It's fun. I appreciate the sentiment behind it, and
we're still filing it. We're both filing it away with our Alice Cooper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a new band. I mean, this is an Alice Cooper project, so I think it fits very much alongside the other Alice Cooper stuff. Which, of course, by the time you'll have read this, I'm hoping that I get some feedback about how Alice's show in Moncton
Casino.
Because, I mean, we've each seen him a couple times. He puts on a fantastic show. And earlier TBC, we talked about our Alice Cooper collection. So this is just a new addition to it. Hollywood Vampires, self-titled release, will be filed under Alice Cooper on this very special Halloween edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.
See ya.